All right, thank you, Jennifer. Great job with the interview. And we thank Jermon Bushrod for being along with us as well on this edition of Cvtv Sports Week. One final segment. Mike Neville along with you. Tucker was hung around. We couldn't get rid of him. We tried. No. And Mike Curran's joining us as well. And, of course, that means we're going to talk the NHL playoffs. So we got a couple of Game 7s to find out who's going to go on to represent each conference in the upcoming Stanley Cup Finals. Eastern Conference, it's the New York Rangers hosting the Tampa Bay Lightning. And, Mike, I have not been able to figure out this series because just when I think Tampa Bay's got a stranglehold, they lose at home to the Rangers, who force a Game 7. And if you look at the history, Game 7s have been very kind, especially at home, to the New York Rangers.
Yes, I agree. And I think the Rangers are going to win this one, too. You know, the Rangers get shut out 2-0 in Game 5.
Right.
Come back and score 7 goals in Game 6. And I think that was like in the Capitals series.
Yep.
Tampa Bay blew their chance,
Yep.
blew their opportunity. I think the Rangers are going to take Game 7 at home. And, you know, the Tampa Bay kind of reminds me of the Capitals a little bit. Other than the Caps didn't score a lot of goals against the Rangers, but they just seem like a similar type team. And I think the Rangers are going to beat them in Game 7.
Tucker, when we look at Game 7s, you always look at the goaltending. Ben Bishop is not quite the elite goaltender, obviously, that Henrik Lundqvist is. So I think a lot of people think that's another reason why the Rangers will succeed in Game 7 because of his experience in playoff pressure. I think that might be the X factor. Agree?
To an extent. That's definitely going to play into it at some point. But we've seen Henrik Lundqvist give up 6 goals in this series before. And you don't know,
right?
Yeah, and you don't know which one of him is going to show up at this point.
Right.
And that's not necessarily his fault right now. He's playing against an explosive offense like Tampa Bay, and they've exploded a couple times. And New York's kind of had to change their strategy on the fly, where previously they were just playing conservatively and saying, we'll just score as many goals until Lundqvist can stop it.
Right.
So, you know, 2, and just dare the other team to catch up to them. Now they can't do that anymore because Tampa Bay can light up the posts. They can really score a bunch of goals in a row here, and they can't play like that anymore. So Lundqvist and Bishop, whichever one of those 2 goalies is going to be the better one in this, that's probably going to be the difference factor.
Right. How important is it for Tampa Bay to get off to a good start, maybe score a goal in the first period, kind of take the crowd out of it? Is that going to be a huge advantage for them, do you think?
I would say it's important to come out playing hard, but I don't think it'll be an advantage. Not in Madison Square Garden. The Rangers have been there before. 1 goal is not going to scare them. 2 goals might not even scare them. And so I think, but it would benefit Tampa Bay greatly to start off well. But I still think the Rangers are going to take the game. But what do I know? I haven't been right about any of these series so far.
And, of course, if the Rangers win, it'll be their 2nd straight appearance in the Stanley Cup Championship Finals. Yeah, out west, another series that's kind of hard to figure out, Anaheim and Chicago. Give the Blackhawks credit. They battled back from a 2-goal deficit to force overtime in Game 5. And I'll tell you, Anaheim was fortunate to get that early goal to win it in the first overtime to grab a 3-2 lead. But then, of course, the Blackhawks come back at home and are up for 5 goals and roll in that game. So now here we are, Game 7 on the road at Anaheim. But with Chicago's postseason experience, I got to tell you, I think Chicago's going to win it because I just like their experience. And again, you look at goaltending. Anderson's played well for Anaheim, but Crawford's got the experience.
I think experience matters. I don't want to take away from that at all. Experience does matter, but I think it matters most with the little things. Things like, you know, scoring in overtime, playing into 3 overtimes in the playoffs, little things like that. And as far as a 1-game sample goes, I still take the team that I think has the most talent, and right now I think that's Anaheim. Ooh. And no, I don't think that Chicago's untalented, clearly. They've got so many great star players and great depth on their team. But Anaheim does have, I think, a lot better depth. I like their defense, 2nd and 3rd lines a little bit better. And I think Chicago's a little more banged up. And I think that's going to finally catch up to them here in Game 7.
Well, one thing you said, Mike, banged up, that's one thing that Anaheim has been doing is every time the Chicago defensemen touch the puck, they've been getting hit and hit hard because they're a little limited in the back end. And that's something that Anaheim wants to continue. Ryan Getzlaf for Anaheim, a little disappointed in him. I thought he had a really bad game in Game 6. He's got to come out a little bit better. They've had their moments. Corey Perry, of course, has played well. But I just like Chicago. What's your feelings on this one?
It's another tough one. I agree with Tucker. You can't count out the experience of Chicago. But once again, Anaheim's got the talent. And the thing that Chicago has going against them right now is they've been playing mainly with 4 defensemen.
Yeah.
And those guys are getting worn down, and Anaheim can take advantage of that.
Right.
But who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, You know, I would like to say Anaheim's going to win this game, but I'm going to go with the Blackhawks in their experience.
Yeah, so we got one Duck and we got two Blackhawks.
Yeah, well,
but like I said, it would not surprise. I wouldn't be shocked if Anaheim won.
No, either way.
Oh yeah, and it's one game. You know,
Right.
this could go either way, no matter who these two teams were.
Right.
If you force a Game 7 and you're an underdog, you've basically already won because you just have that one game to go, and anything can happen in a Game 7.
What are your feelings on overtime? There's been some suggestion about maybe tweaking the overtime rules a little bit. I saw a columnist for the Buffalo News say that he thought 5-on-5 or 6-on-6 in the first overtime, but then in the second overtime maybe go 4-on-4. So his philosophy is that these things drag out so long that the average viewer who has to work the next day, can't stay up to watch the entire. Now they obviously can watch the highlights. Are you fine with the way it's set up right now?
I like the way it is.
Yeah.
It makes it more exciting this way. And if it drags out 3 overtimes, 4 overtimes, I mean, that's rare when that does happen.
Yeah.
But when it does, it's more exciting that way. I don't want to change it. I mean, fine, during the regular season, they can change whatever they want. But I like regular season, I wish they would go 3-on-3 before a shootout.
Right.
But in the playoffs, I wouldn't change it.
And I agree for the most part. And I understand that the league has to protect its bottom line, and if they're losing money, they'll probably change. But the games aren't played for the viewers. They're played for the players and the coaches and the people involved with these teams. And you can't make it a gimmick game in overtime in the playoffs when it matters the most.
Right.
You can have 4-on-4 and a shootout in the regular season. I'm fine with that. I'd be fine with 3-on-3 if we mean
I'd be
less
fine
shootouts.
if they just dropped it and said it's a tie and don't go
Me
into
too.
the overtime.
Yeah, but in the playoffs, it needs to be hockey the whole way through, and this is the best way to do it.
Well, I think we all three will agree, because we're big hockey fans, is that there's nothing like overtime hockey. I mean, as far as pressure, especially if your team is in it. Now, my team's not in it. None of our teams are in it. But when your team is involved, it is very nerve-wracking to sit there and watch overtime being played. Real quick before we wrap things up, Mike Babcock going to Toronto. Buffalo had a shot at him. Surprised that he went there?
I am surprised. You go to Toronto to die. and I'm really surprised he did go there. I really am.
How about you?
I mean, what do you make of it at this point? You knew Toronto was going to hire
$5-6 million. That'll help ease the pain.
Yeah, that definitely helps. But I mean, you know, Toronto's going to hire a big name. He's definitely a big name as far as hockey coaches go. But where does the team go from here? It's going to take way more than just a head coach in order to get them back on top.
That's right. All right, gents, thank you so much. And as always, we thank you for watching Cvtv Sports Week Review. We'll see you next week with another edition. Have a great week.